It is 8:37 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It is the 9th day of the 9th month of 2025, and when you add those all together, you end up with 999, because 2 plus 2 plus 5 equals, well, 9. Yeah, dude, I know. My numerology sucks. Good morning. This is episode 1164 of Bitcoin and NPM attack. Oh my God, we're all gonna die. Apparently, they've only been able to steal $50. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you will, because this is the Bitcoin and podcast. It's where you come to get all the news that you can use about Bitcoin, economics, and more. I got all kinds of stuff today. We got the NPM stuff. We got the Tether are selling Bitcoin for gold controversy. We'll do it, I promise. And you will get some answers, or at least, well, we'll rely on the answers of who is it? Who's this? Bitcoin News. Yes, Bitcoin News. And Christie's winding down an entire segment of their auction house. And it's really funny because, well, we told you so. We told you so. Now, Senate Democrats going to unveil their own crypto market structure framework. We'll see how that one differs from the Clarity Act, which is, basically Republican supported. And stablecoins, will they offer yield? I don't care. Oh my God, I don't care. But a lot of people do. And by the way, even if I don't care about stablecoins or whether or not they offer yield, there's still some good stuff in this particular story. Kazakhstan will be next up, and 8Co will finish us out for the day's show. But first, we're going to do the NPM attack. Everybody collectively lost their minds yesterday when it was made known that this massive, what's known as a supply chain attack, occurred. It is not supply chain as in we can't get steel to build cars, or the plastic spigot has been cut off, or the bananas on the blockchain aren't being shipped. It's not that kind of supply chain. Dude, this is about JavaScript libraries. All right. So Shinobi, who is quite technical, but does a pretty good job in this particular piece from Bitcoin Magazine, is going to kind of tell us what the hell the NPM attack that everybody was collectively crying about yesterday was, or rather is. A major NPM developer, Kix, Qix, has had their account compromised. It was used to push malware that targets and searches for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency wallets on users' devices. And if detected, the malware would patch the code functions used to coordinate transaction signing and replace the address a user is trying to send money to with one of the malware creator's own addresses. This should mostly be a concern for web wallet users, also known as hot wallets. Okay, if you're using a web wallet, which honestly you kind of shouldn't be unless you're just using it for like play money, like $20, $100, something like that. If you've got any kind of real actual wealth built up in Bitcoin and it's on a hot wallet, you don't need to be doing that. It needs to be on a cold wallet, like a cold card, also known as a hardware wallet. Anyway, this should mostly be a concern for web wallet users. So in the Bitcoin ecosystem, ordinals or runes and other token users, unless an update for your normal software wallet happened to be pushed just earlier today with a compromised dependency, or if your wallet dynamically loads code directly from the wallet back end, bypassing the App Store, well, then you should be fine. So what did he just say about all that? Well, he's basically saying software wallets, which are also hot wallets, which are web wallets as well. Well, not really. Web wallets can be like MetaMask or something like that. That is a browser extension wallet. But there are people with non-browser extension wallets, and those would be software wallets. So they're on your computer, and your computer is connected to the internet, and it's getting updates from, a back end or something like that. Yes, that's a problem. This is a problem with the NPM attack. And by the wallets that dynamically loads code, Ledger comes to mind. Trezor comes to mind. Now, Trezor has always been, from what I understand, everybody loves Trezor. A lot of people use Ledger, and I still don't know why. I've been through 3 Ledger wallets, and 2 of them have been bricked. The third $100 Ledger Nano S that I bought was specifically so that I could actually get all of my shit off of my Ledger, which doesn't, technically, it's never really on the Ledger. It's just a signing device. And I realized later that all I really had to do was just get my 24 words and use Electrum, and I could have done it that way. But we all come to understand how Bitcoin works when we come to understand how Bitcoin works. So that was the only reason why I bought my third Ledger, was to get it off. And I put it directly onto a CoinKite cold card hardware wallet, which that's why I'm not worried about this particular attack. If I was still using Ledger, I would be worried about this attack. Now, as we'll see later, this attack is probably over, and we're probably good. But that does not mean that you need to check your send addresses. If you have a web wallet, if you've got a software wallet, or if you've got a Ledger or a Trezor and it's like updating the code on the back end, because it's like Ledger, you have to plug it in and it uses Ledger's web interface and all that, then you need to double and triple check for the time being. You've got to double and triple check the wallet address that you're sending to. All right. So please don't let your guard down. Not anytime soon, because this shit could still be all over the place. Anyway, NPM, if you want to know what the hell it is, it's a package manager for Node.js, a popular JavaScript framework. This means it is used to grab large sets of pre-written code used for common functionality to be integrated into different programs without the developer having to rewrite these basic functions themselves. The targeted packages were not cryptocurrency specific, but they were packages used by countless numbers of normal applications that are built with Node.js, not just cryptocurrency wallets. If you are using a hardware wallet in combination with your web wallet, take extra care to verify on the device itself that the destination address that you are sending to is correct before signing anything. If you are using software keys in a web wallet itself, it would be advisable to not open them or transact until you are certain you are not running a vulnerable version of the wallet. The safest course of action would be waiting for an announcement from the team that develops the wallet that you use that everything is now safe. And this is me talking. Even then, be double and triple check your addresses. And you should do that when everybody thinks everything is all clear. I always check, I always take 3 sections of the address wallet that was generated by my wallet, or generated by the place that I'm sending to. Like let's say I want to send Bitcoin to Strike, right? That generates me an address, and it's always different. It's different every time that I do it with Strike. I will just pick like the first, or after the BC1 or the first 3 or 4 letters, I'll pick 4 letters or 5 letters, and then I'll pick another 5 letters in the middle, and then I'll pick the last 5 letters at the end. And if all of those match up to what's being given to me on my signing device, then I'm pretty sure, because being able to spoof something like that, probably not going to happen in anybody's lifetime. But we've got a little bit more about this NPM supply chain attack. NPM supply chain attack on crypto has been contained with almost no victims, according to the Ledger CTO, or Chief Technical Officer. This is Naga Avan Nomayo from The Block. Ledger's Chief Technology Officer said Tuesday that a widely watched supply chain attack on the Node Package Manager ecosystem fortunately failed with almost no victims after a phishing campaign led attackers to publish malicious updates to popular JavaScript packages before the compromise was detected and shut down. Charles Guillemot, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Ledger CTO, stated the incident began with emails from a spoofed NPM support domain that harvested developer credentials. This allowed hackers to push tainted package versions that hook web crypto activity across Ethereum, Solana, and other chains by swapping destination addresses inside network responses. He added that implementation mistakes caused CI/CD pipelines to crash, triggering rapid discovery and limited the impact size. Quote, the immediate danger may have passed, but the threat hasn't, Ledger CTO wrote on X, urging users to favor hardware wallets and clear signing protections. The attackers also netted about $500 in crypto, according to on-chain analytics firm Arkham, which said the funds went to addresses cited by Guillemot in his initial alert. The updates follows Monday's industry-wide as reported by the block. Wait, what? The update follows Monday's industry-wide, as reported by the block. Industry-wide what? Attack? Guys, edit. You gotta edit your shit. Security experts urge developers and users to pause on-chain activity amid a massive NPM supply chain event targeting Web3 projects. By early on Tuesday, multiple crypto teams, including Uniswap, Morpho, MetaMask, OKX, Wallet, Sui, Ava, Trezor, and Lido, reported that they were not affected. Security Collective Seal Org called the outcome lucky, noting a compromised account with packages downloaded billions of times. This compromised package was downloaded billions, not millions, but billions with a B of times, weekly. Every week, billions of times. And it could have yielded untold riches had the, payload been a little bit stealthier. While the take was minimal this time, industry veterans like Guillemot warned that software supply chain compromises remain a powerful malware vector and are becoming increasingly targeted. The block recently covered investigative work showing attackers embedding command and control instructions behind Ethereum smart contracts to steer NPM distributed malware, a sign that adversaries are blending on-chain and open source tactics to dodge detection. So what's happening here? I want to write a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, and for whatever reason, I want it to be a web wallet. I know how to write, most of the code for the wallet functionality itself, to be able to generate a wallet address, to be able to sign the thing, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know how to write a lot of the other stuff that is just general housekeeping on how things might display. How things might, like general maybe user experience issues or user interface issues. So I depend on already written or rather pre-built libraries of JavaScript to actually get that done. And I link to that. I say, I'm going to take that package. I'm going to use it in my project. That's called a dependency. My project is dependent upon a third-party project. What do we always say in Bitcoin? Third parties are security holes. This is a direct explanation of what that means. If you're depending on a third party for anything, whether it's custody or helping you write software, it is an attack surface. It's an attack vector. And we need to be watching this shit very, very, very carefully. So that's pretty much it for the NPM attack. Please do not think that it is over. Please do not think that because the dude from Ledger comes out and says, hey man, only $500 was stolen, that does not mean that sometime today we don't get a news story saying that $10 billion in, I don't know, Ether was heisted. Because this shit, this NPM attack, this compromised package, that's still out in the wind. We don't know if every single developer has updated their project to make sure that that package has been stripped out and replaced with the actual dependency package that they really want. So by no means go, softly into that good night saying, oh, everything's going to be just fine, because you can still get taken. All right. You can still get taken. Let's shift gears here. There's been some controversy about Tether selling Bitcoin for gold. Well, Paolo Ardoino has actually made a statement. Thank God somebody somewhere is like, we should probably clear this up and make a statement. So Tether denies selling Bitcoin and reaffirms BTC and gold strategy. This is Alex Larry writing for Bitcoin News. Tether, the largest stablecoin issuer, has now shut down rumors that it has been quietly selling off its Bitcoin for gold. The speculation, which spread across Bitcoin circles over the last few weeks, claimed that the company had reduced its Bitcoin stash to build up gold reserves. But Tether CEO Paolo Ardoino has denied the claims, calling them false, and reaffirming that the company's strategy of investing profits into Bitcoin, gold, and land remains firm. The controversy began when independent analyst and YouTuber Clive Thompson looked at Tether's quarterly reports from accounting firm BDO, and the video is now available below, and they've got a link to it. We're not going to play it. According to Thompson, or Thompson, because it's Thomp, Thompson, the company's Bitcoin holdings went from 92,650 Bitcoin in quarter one, 2025 to 83,274 in the second quarter. And to some, that looked like a massive sell-off. Thompson agreed that the decrease meant the stablecoin issuer had liquidated part of its position to buy gold. I got to pause here. All you can say about that data is that they might have liquidated it. They might have sold it. But they might have done something else with it. They might have given it as, a loan. They might, or they might have transferred it to another internal wallet in Tether. You can't say anything. You can make no conjecture at all. This is 100% bullshit that somebody like Clive Thompson would say anything like this. It's odd. It's almost as if, well, you know what? Let's just read. This set off a wave of speculation online. Bitcoin Twitter, always skeptical of Tether, was quick to assume the worst, but other industry figures quickly jumped in to clarify the numbers. Samson Moe, CEO of Bitcoin-focused company Jan3, explained that the company didn't sell its Bitcoin but transferred 19,800 BTC to the new investment vehicle, which is named 21 Capital. That's Jack Maller's new outfit, if you didn't know. Let's see here. June 2nd, 2025, 14,000 BTC was transferred to XXI, or 21. In July of 2025, an additional 5,800 BTC was transferred to XXI, or 21. Quote, that means that at the end of the second quarter of 2025, Tether would have had 4,624 BTC more than at the end of the second quarter of 2025. And if you combine it with the July transfer, then Tether has at least a net increase of Bitcoin holdings of 10,424. Mao added bluntly, quote, Tether is mega bullish on Bitcoin and on all metrics. Mega bullish on Bitcoin on all metrics, end quote. Ardoino backed up the explanation, saying the company didn't sell any Bitcoin, but allocated part of its holdings to 21. Ardoino said that the company is not abandoning Bitcoin, but strengthening its BTC position. As of the latest data, Tether now holds over 100,521 Bitcoin, worth around $11.17 billion, making it one of the largest institutional Bitcoin holders in the world. At the same time, the company is, in fact, gradually expanding its gold, or rather into gold, as part of what Ardoino calls a hybrid reserve model. Reports say Tether holds around $8.7 billion worth of gold, nearly 80 tons. Holy shit. shit. Wow. Apparently they hold this gold in secure Zurich vaults. Just saying. Zurich. Be a nice reason to go over to Zurich. Go inspect my gold and get some schnitzel. Anyway, the company has also launched a gold-backed token called XAUT, which recently surpassed $1.3 billion market cap and entered into the top 100 digital assets. Quote, while the world continues to get darker, Tether will continue to invest part of its profits into safe assets like Bitcoin, gold, and land, Arduino said. This is not about replacing Bitcoin, but about being resilient in uncertain times. Arduino says while Bitcoin is at the core of his company's reserve strategy, gold and land provide diversification. So all we really have to go on here is Paolo Arduino's word. He's said what has occurred. Now, do I automatically believe him? I tend to believe him, but I don't fully believe anybody who says anything anymore because, well, I grew up the better part of my life being flat-ass lied to and just accepting it, just believing it. Hey, these guys flew planes into these buildings, so we found out that we found their passports in the rubble within 30 minutes of this disaster, and well, we figured out that they're from Saudi Arabia, so we're going to bomb Iraq and Afghanistan because, bin Laden. It doesn't matter, right? I've been told that inflation is good for me. No, it's not. That's a lie. I've been told that the nuclear family is racist. No, it's not. That's a lie. You need to put all of your money into the 401k plan. Oh my God, dude, I just want to buy Bitcoin. So for what Paolo says, it makes sense. Bitcoin, gold, and land. Honestly, it's not bad. And for those, there are a lot of people out there that say, if you hold land, somebody can just, men with guns can just come take it from you. Yes, this is true. And if you hold gold, men with guns can come and take it from you if they know where you are and the gold is. Yes, that's true as well. But the same is true for Bitcoin. Men with guns can come take your shit. Before guns existed, men with bows and arrows could come and take your stuff. Before that, in caveman times, if you figured out that you could hold a animal femur in your hand, the big thigh bone, and beat somebody around the head and shoulders, you could take their stuff too, even though it might have been a leather pouch full of, psychedelic mushrooms or something like that. In either event, there's always been somebody stronger who has weak moral sets and will use violence to take your stuff. So with that aside, I have no problem with what Paolo said. I'm not against gold. I'm certainly not against land. Anybody who's been listening to the Cathedral series, well, shit, you know that. I love land. I would love to steward a whole bunch of land. I'm not as excited about gold. I guess, like, if I were to say it, it would be Bitcoin, land, and gold for me in that order of importance. But there's nothing here that tells me that Paolo is just straight up lying to people. This dude, on the other hand, this Clive Thompson, immediately leaping to, because this wallet address doesn't have the amount of Bitcoin that it has, then Tether must have sold the Bitcoin and bought gold. That is reprehensible logic, because it's caused 3, if not 4 straight up weeks of people really worrying about what the hell Tether's going to do. Honestly, even if Tether was selling their Bitcoin, dude, you remain unaffected. Would you see a short-term price dip? Yes. And we're seeing it today from other reasons, which I will get into. But first, the Circle P is open for business. And the Circle P is where I bring plebs just like you with goods and services to plebs just like you who want to buy said goods and services. I do it for free. This is value for value advertising. Oshi Oshi is our Circle P vendor of the day. Of course, as usual, Oshi is out of stock on everything. Why would I bring you somebody who doesn't have any goods and services for sale? Because it demonstrates that people want Oshi's products. What are they? He's got hodl bars, but his main seller is this stuff called hodl butter. And he has it in an 8-ounce jar, and now he has been selling 16-ounce jars. Here are the ingredients. It's like peanut butter, except first ingredient is pecans, not peanuts. This is made with pecans and maple sugar and sea salt flakes and just a little bit of cinnamon and black pepper to give it that, what am I trying to say? That flavor. You got to get the flavor. It's the flavor. You got to go to oshigood.us. Go to oshigood.us. Go and buy some hodl butter when he gets it back into stock. Because he's always generating this stuff and he's always selling out. That's oshigood.us. oshigood.us. Use coupon code Bitcoin and use the coupon code Bitcoin and, because that way Oshi will know that I made a sale for him, and that's where the value for value advertising model turns on. That's where we turn the key to the engine of the Circle P, because Oshi then gets to make a determination. Was the sale worth it enough for me to go and cut Mr. Bennett some Satoshis for the work that he did putting me in the Circle P? If he decides he does that, or I did that for him, then he sends me Satoshis. We don't have a contract. It is a handshake deal. Why? 2 reasons. One, there's a lot of plebs with a lot of really good products. I'm trying to put more into the Circle P, and more will be coming online in the coming weeks. 2, when you're first starting out, you know what you really need? Help from somebody else. Whether you ask for it or they just give it. When I first started the Circle P, I didn't ask permission to put people's products into the Circle P. I knew that they probably didn't have an advertising budget. They probably are making this stuff because this is what they might rather be doing. They might rather dream of having a big facility that makes a whole bunch of this stuff. Maybe that's what they want to do. Who am I to not try to help them out? That's what the Circle P is all about. So go to oshigood.us. OSHIGOOD. oshigood.us. Make sure you tell him Bitcoin and sent you, so he will know who made the sale. On to Christie's, who is no longer making a sale of NFTs. I told you. Stephen Cotti from Cointelegraph says, auction giant Christie's winds down NFT department. You're all fired. Why? Because NFTs, like what we told you, are worthless. UK auction giant Christie's reportedly closing its department that handles non-fungible token sales, putting it under a broader department amid a global decline in the art market. The strategic decision will see the 258-year-old British auction house continue to sell digital art such as NFTs, but now within the larger 20th and 21st century art category, according to a report on Monday from Now Media that cited a statement from Christie's spokesperson. So they're not quite quitting selling the NFTs, but hey, it's clickbait, man. Even I got to do the clickbait. Got to keep you interested. But they are winding down the actual department. And it is important. Because the more that this NFT garbage starts to decline, the more the fad just dims the light of its life down, and it starts to flatline, and we can all let go of this poor dumbass dear loved one that just didn't survive. Then we can all go about our lives just a little bit better, unless you're looking for a job. Because the jobs report came out today, and whoa, Nelly. Oh my God. Job growth revised down by 911,000 through the month of March, signaling that the economy is on much shakier footing than first realized. Jeff Cox, CNBC, is writing this one. The labor market created far fewer jobs than previously thought, according to a Labor Department report on Tuesday that added to concerns about the health of the economy and the state of data collection. Oh, they're worried they're getting bad data now. Annual revisions to non-farm payrolls data for the year. This isn't a monthly report, by the way. For the year prior to March 2025 showed a drop of 911,000 from the initial estimates. It's almost 1 million people. How can you be off by a factor of 6? Well, okay, a factor of 5. It's like a number with 5 zeros behind it. That's what this is. That's how bad of a mistake this is. It's freaking inexcusable. Anyway, initial estimates. According to a preliminary report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the total revision was on the high end of Wall Street expectations, which ranged from a low around 600,000 to as many as 1 million. The revisions were more than 50% higher than last year's adjustment. Apparently that's good news. And the largest on record going back to 2002. And on a monthly basis, they suggest average job growth of 76,000 less than initially reported. The numbers, which are adjusted from data in the quarterly census and reflect updated information on business openings and closings, add to evidence that the employment picture in the United States is weakening. Most of the time span for the report came before President Donald Trump took office, indicating the jobs picture was deteriorating well before he began levying tariffs against U.S. trading partners. I'm pausing to say it's odd that CNBC is extending this rare positive moment in their view of Donald Trump. I'm actually shocked. Quote, the BLS's preliminary benchmark revisions to non-farm payrolls show a much weaker labor market over most of 2024 and early 2025 than previously estimated. Importantly, the slower job creation implies income growth was also on a softer footing even prior to the recent rise in policy uncertainty and economic slowdowns that we've seen since the spring. This should give the Fed more impetus to restart its cutting cycle. And there's the rub. So now that we know that the jobs picture is way less than it's much worse than we thought. And the Federal Reserve is going to do what? Well, they were already on track to Jerome Powell gave dovish comments in the his September speech and said, we're thinking about a cut. We might do it. Well, the weakening jobs report even gives them much more fuel to say, yeah, we probably need to cut, because the Federal Reserve has 2 mandates. One is control of the interest rates, which is a huge lever. The other one is called full employment. And interest rates is like they're targeting 2%. That's really kind of their mandate. But essentially, the mandate is keep it at 2% inflation. But what they do is they jack with the interest rates to try to do that. But the other mandate is full employment. And a long time ago, and I can't remember who it was, they sort of have a third mandate, which says if you have to choose between making the jobs market where everybody has as much employment as possible, or jacking with interest rates because inflation is out of control, you need to choose jobs. And you need to do whatever it is you need to do with the interest rates to make sure that jobs, and jobs, right? In my opinion, we are looking square in the face of anywhere between a 0.25% and a 0.5% rate cut this next Fed meeting because of this report. What did Bitcoin do? It lost $1,000. Let's run the numbers. Yeehaw! Oil is up 1.11. Ooh, a nice little row of sticks. to $62.95. Brent North Sea up just over a percentage point to 66.70, and natural gas is down 0.8%. Gasoline, however, is up 1.7%, and Murban crudes, everybody's light sweet crude oil, is up almost 1.5%, back up to $69.88 a barrel. Gold is up a quarter of a point to $36.85 and a dime. Silver and the rest of the metal rock brethren are all in the red, 1.3% to the downside for silver, but still trading at $41. $41 for an ounce of silver. It was not that long ago you could pick that shit up for $22. I'm just saying, I'm not saying go buy it. I'm just saying, wow. Platinum, however, is down a full percentage point. Copper is moving sideways. Palladium is down a point. Ag looking mostly in the red today. Biggest loser is coffee, half a point to the downside. Chocolate, biggest winner, 1.8 to the upside. Meanwhile, live cattle down 2 points. Lean hogs down a half, and feeder cattle down 2.5 points. I don't know what's going on in the cattle industry right now, but I'm sure that did not help. Well, I take that back. Cattle prices are still at all-time highs, even after these percentage point drops. But people get recency bias, and they're saying, hey, well, it was up 2 points yesterday, and now it's down 2 points. Oh my God, we're all going to die. It'll be fine, y'all. It'll be fine. Dow is moving sideways. S&P is moving sideways. NASDAQ moving sideways. The S&P Mini is down 1.13%. Everybody is probably waiting on the fact that we've got 3 or 4 more inflation and or employment and or producer price index numbers coming out, because it's like this every month. I wish Bitcoin was more detached from all this crap than it is, but right now it isn't. All right, so let's see let me see what is going on here. Let me get in my trading view. I should have had it already up, but I didn't because, bad host, bad host. Let me see where the numbers are. Let's see where at one point or another it will give me these little markers. Okay, here we go. Ready? On September the 10th, tomorrow, we will get the producer price index month over month. After that, on September the 11th, oh God, we're going to have to do this. The September 11th anniversary, just right around the corner. And it will also be my 10th year into Bitcoin, so yay me. We'll get core inflation rate year over year, inflation rate year over year, inflation rate month over month, and the core inflation rate month over month. And then, because it's not over yet, the Michigan Consumer Sentiment report will come out on September the 12th. Oh, yay, joy. So we've got a couple more days of this crap. It's one of those, it's the inflation week, which we get every single month right around this time. It's not anything that I like, but hey, we're going to have to do it. So again, we touched $113,000 last night. We are now at $111,120. That is a $2.21 trillion market cap, and we can only purchase 30.1 ounces of shiny metal rocks with our one Bitcoin, of which there are 19,918,273.05 of. Average fees per block are relatively stable. Relatively stable. There are, let's see, 0.03 BTC per block on a per block basis in fees. Right now, high priority rates are going at 7 Satoshis per VByte, so a little expensive. Low priorities get you in at 4. Mining. We're at 979 exahashes per second, so we're still under the zettahash mark. It'll be okay. Everything's fine. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I don't know why people freak out about all this stuff. Okay, from Black Hole Sun and Naughty Core, the last couple of episodes that I released, I got Reed, who gave me 2,100 sats, says, dude, you do this every day? How do you find this much Bitcoin relevant news? Great takes, great show, I'll be listening on the regular. Got to get my 40 HPW. Oh, by the way, Reed, thank you. I appreciate that. I did get the sats. I'm staring at them right here. So thank you. I appreciate it. Also, thank you to Progressively Worse with 222 sats says thank you. No, thank you. Perma Nerd with 210 sats says thank you, sir. No, thank you. And Perma, I'll be getting back to you on messaging later today. Pies with 121 says thank you, sir. No, thank you. And here's Chef Tommy. 21,000 sats, dude. He says, this is for the Cathedral series and the shout out you did for the Circle P about Ben Justman Peony Lane wine tasting notes that I did. Bitcoin is money. Let's treat it as such. Ben's wine is an opportunity to own generational wealth. Make sure you join his wine club to take advantage of the discounts and secure your place in each harvest. Thank you, sir. No, thank you, Chef Tommy. I appreciate that. And by the way, Chef Tommy, I've totally forgot to read your wine review of Ben Justman and Peony Lane wine 2022 vintage of the Estate Pinot Noir. I have that copied. When Peony Lane comes back up in the Circle P rotation, I'm going to read that review because I think it's important. I think these reviews and stuff like that are important. If you don't know who Chef Tommy is, go follow him on nostr. I love the guy. I love his content. Hearn88 with 100 says, you are tired of the decentralized argument discussion about how best to use the Bitcoin network, but seems super excited to read more and more decrees from big government tyranny and Wall Street scams, to each his own. I'm not sure if I'm being reprimanded or not. Hearn88, I do thank you for the Satoshis, though. And that's it for the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. Senate Democrats unveil their own crypto market structure framework, setting a stage for bipartisan talks. Well, to me, that sounds like an exciting way to get into a fistfight, but we'll see. James Hunt from The Block has it, and he says a group of 12 Senate Democrats introduced a detailed 7-pillar framework on Tuesday for regulating United States crypto markets, marking the party's most comprehensive proposal to date. While the plan signals Democrats' readiness to negotiate with Republicans on long-stalled market structure legislation, it also sharpens the dividing lines over ethics and enforcement. The group, including Senators Ruben Gallego, Mark Warner, Kristen Gillibrand, and Cory Booker, framed the nearly $4 trillion global crypto market as too large to remain in regulatory limbo. Their blueprint emphasizes investor protections, you're right, closing regulatory gaps, and curbing what they describe as potential corruption linked to President Trump and his family's various crypto ventures. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that there's gambling going on in here. No, for those of you who think I'm defending Trump, I don't, honestly, the orange guy, he's going to do what he's going to do. And by the way, he's president of the United States, so there's not much it's not like I can call him on the phone and say, hey, quit it. But I can say this. It's a conflict of interest that him and his family have so much to do with crypto, and he's the president of the United States and is saying that he's the crypto president. We've got all this crypto shit going on, and the optics are terrible. It is definitely a conflict of interest, and nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. So I don't know, man. It's bizarre. So I kind of don't blame the Democrats for slipping this in here, but good luck. Quote, digital asset technology has the potential to unlock new businesses and spur American innovation. But questions about digital assets is hard. Hold on. Questions about digital assets' place in the United States regulatory framework have hobbled both innovation and consumer protection, the senators wrote, positioning their proposal as a solution to both. At its core, the framework would give the Commodity Futures Trading Commission new powers, oh joy, over spot markets for non-security tokens, while creating a process to determine whether a digital asset falls under the Securities and Exchange Commission's jurisdiction as a, well, security. It also outlines disclosure requirements for token issuers, crypto-specific rulemaking for exchanges and custody providers, and strict anti-manipulation and consumer protection standards. Notably, digital asset platforms serving United States users would be required to register with, of course, FinCEN as financial institutions, bringing exchanges, custodians, and other intermediaries further into the orbit of the Bank Secrecy Act, AML rules, and sanctions enforcement. Yes, because you're basically essentially turning private enterprises into an enforcement arm of the United States federal government. I'm pretty sure that the Constitution says that that's not allowed, but you know what? Not a lawyer, certainly not a constitutional lawyer. Let's go on. The framework also flags DeFi as a key vector for illicit finance, calling for new oversight tools to prevent its misuse. However, it is unclear if it intends to enforce the same registration mandate on protocol-level software teams, whereas the Republicans have outlined explicit protections for DeFi developers contributing to decentralized protocols. The framework also seeks a prohibition on interest or yield paid by stablecoin issuers, including indirectly or through affiliates with non-direct reward-style programs still prevalent following President Trump's recent signing of the Genius Act into law. One of the most politically charged sections targets ethics, barring elected officials and their families from launching or profiting from crypto projects while in office, and mandating disclosure of their holdings. The Democrats alleged President Trump has turned to digital asset projects to enrich himself and his family, abusing his office for corruption with no modern precedent, undermining confidence in the broader digital asset industry. They also call for increased funding for financial regulators and a guarantee of bipartisan representation of their rulemaking, or in their rulemaking, warning against one-sided control of agencies. The Democrats' proposal arrives against the backdrop of the Clarity Act. That's the Republicans' preferred market structure vehicle, the latest draft of which was updated by Senate Banking Committee Republicans on Friday. The House of Representatives previously voted 294 to 134 in favor of passing the Clarity Act in July. The Clarity Act is also centered on defining tokens, assigning regulatory authority, and streamlining compliance pathways. However, while overlapping in goals, the Democrats' ethics provisions and stricter treatment of DeFi marks notable departures. Also, though Republicans have pressed for speed in passing legislation, Democrats insist a bipartisan outcome cannot be rushed. That means they're going to take freaking forever. With both parties now circulating detailed legislative frameworks, bipartisan negotiations in the Senate Banking Committee are set to intensify in the coming weeks. Whether Democrats and Republicans can reconcile differences over timing, ethics, and DeFi oversight will help determine if the U.S. can finally establish comprehensive crypto market rules after years of gridlock. And my answer to that question is no. No. This sounds like an exciting way to filibuster. This sounds like an exciting way to just go into the chambers and sit there and argue for hours and days and weeks and months and inevitably years. I would not expect anything out of the Clarity Act anytime soon. In fact, your children may be out of diapers by the time that shit happens. Now, let's get back to the stablecoin and the notion of yield. Yield. Stablecoins must offer yield to compete, former Standard Chartered tokenization head says. And this is Callan Quinn writing for Decrypt. yield. The clash between Wall Street and the crypto sector over yield-bearing stablecoins is intensifying in Washington, as if it wasn't intense enough. The stablecoin industry needs more options for offering yield to users, according to Will Beeson, founder and CEO of RWA Liquidity Layer Multi-Liquid and Uniform Labs, and former head of tokenized asset infrastructure at Standard Chartered. Quote, in a competitive market with others issuing their own stablecoins, you end up in a situation where you're looking for ways to incentivize users to use your stablecoin, Beeson told Decrypt. Quote, the ability to pay yield would be an important way to do that. Sorry, I'm pausing here just because I'm trying to ingest the fact that, well, never mind. Let's just continue. Beeson's comments come as the federal government implements the Genius Act, legislation signed by Trump in July to create the first formal U.S. framework for stablecoin issuance and trading. While the law bars issuers from paying yield, it stops short in banning third parties, such as exchanges, from offering interest or rewards on stablecoin holdings. For instance, crypto exchange Coinbase does indeed pay interest on USDC balances held on its platform in Circle stablecoin USDC, effectively offering yield through a third party. Quote, what's prohibited under Genius is the ability for the stablecoin issuers themselves to pay interest or yield directly to holders. The bill does not prevent intermediaries or third parties from paying incentives, end quote. That gap has become the flashpoint for a lobbying battle. Quote, my understanding is that it has to do with requests by the banking lobby as the regulation was structured and fears about yield-bearing stablecoins effectively providing a much more attractive savings tool than lower-yielding bank deposits. Banks have pressed Congress to close the door completely. In an August 12th letter, the Bank Policy Institute and 4 other major trade groups warned lawmakers that leaving the so-called loophole intact could drain as much as $6.6 trillion, that's trillion with a T, from the United States deposit system. Quote, without an explicit prohibition applying to exchanges which act as a distribution channel for stablecoin issuers or business affiliates, the requirements in the Genius Act can be easily evaded and undermined by allowing payment of interest indirectly to holders of stablecoins. Quote, the result will be greater deposit flight risk, especially in times of stress, that will undermine credit creation throughout the economy, the BPI's letter argued, adding that the resulting reduction in credit supply would lead to, quote, higher interest rates, fewer loans, and increased costs for Main Street businesses and households. Right. Crypto groups have fought back. On August the 20th, the Blockchain Association and the Crypto Council for Innovation sent their very own letter urging regulators to resist bank pressure and disputing the $6.6 trillion claim. Quote, this claim does not hold up to scrutiny, the letter read. Cutting off yield, they warned, would freeze innovation and leave U.S. firms at a disadvantage internationally. Quote, allowing responsible, robustly regulated platforms to share benefits with customers is not a loophole. It is a feature that promotes financial inclusion, fosters innovation, and ensures American leadership in the next generation of payments, they said. Still, Beeson further said that expectations for any near-term change to the law should be tempered. Quote, I think realistically it's less than a 50% chance, he said, pointing to Washington's legislative gridlock. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what did we just read? If you don't let us offer yield on stablecoin deposits, we're going to lose $6.6 trillion. That's what it should have said. Because the language that's coming out of the banking sector is this. You cannot let these people offer yield on stablecoins, because if you do, we will see capital flight, not out of the country, but out of the United States banking industry. into the stablecoin industry. And that will result in $6.6 trillion of loss. Okay, fine. I can see that. You know what we should have? We always hold up the buggy whip maker when it comes to the innovation of automobiles. The buggy whip guy, you know, the guy that built horse-drawn carriages, the guy that built saddles, the guy that built bridles, you know, all that stuff. When the cars first came up, those were the people that lobbied United States Congress and the federal government in toto to come up with a way to curb the production of, or not the production, but the deployment of automobiles. They had like things like red flag laws, which I won't get into, but it made driving a car really stupid. I mean, it's like all they were trying to do was get in the way of the innovation of the automobile. What should the buggy maker and the carriage maker done instead? What should they have leaned into instead of leaning against? They should have started making cars. The saddle maker should have started making car seats that were comfortable. The buggy whip guy, I don't know what the buggy whip guy does, but somehow or another, probably would have been able to build something for a car. That's what they should have done, but they didn't, and they all died. Banking sector, no different. The legacy banking structure that we have right now, as far as just regular banks that offer almost 0% interest on your deposits, if they don't find a way to stifle yield-bearing accounts on stablecoin deposits, they're going to lose their ass. So what should they do instead? You guessed it. They should become they should say we want to be able to we want the stable coins. We want our customers to be able to deposit stable coins, and we want to hold them. And we're going to offer better interest rates. And there's the rub. Maybe they know that they can't. Maybe they understand that there's no way that the way legacy banking is run right now, with all the expectations of pay and benefits and the perks of the job, like strippers and blow and whatever it is that investment bankers get, that there's just no way that they'll be able to compete on offering high enough yields to become attractive enough to be competitive against what has now been 15 years, 16 years. Well, let's give it, I'll be conservative and say 14 years of Bitcoin exchanges. They've had 14 years to figure out how to do all this stuff. Tether themselves, while not being an actual exchange, they have like can't remember what their employee count is. It's like 20 people. They're making billions of dollars in net revenue a year with a fraction of what a single, what Wells Fargo has. They can offer yield out the wazoo. That's what the banking sector is actually afraid of. They know they cannot compete. They know they have to kill yield-bearing accounts on U.S.-based exchanges because they know they will see, it may not be $6.6 trillion, but they definitely will see capital flight from their depository accounts to U.S.-based exchanges. They will convert that shit from U.S. dollars into stable coins, and they will get better yields than keeping it in a bank. Maybe it is the case that the saddle maker had no hope in being able to learn how to build a comfortable chair for a car. That's what we're looking at right now. Moving over to Kazakhstan, because, Kazakhstan, they're aiming for their own strategic cryptocurrency reserve by the year 2026. This is Atlas 21. According to Akorda Press, Kazakhstan aims to become a global pioneer in institutional adoption for digital assets. During his annual address on September the 8th, the Kazakh president presented a clear vision for the country's digital future. The main goal is the creation of a comprehensive digital asset ecosystem to maximize the economic return of national banking resources. The proposal includes the establishment of a state fund for digital assets based on the National Bank Investment Company. This entity will be responsible for building a strategic cryptocurrency reserve composed of, quote, promising assets from the new digital financial system. Promising assets. You spelled shitcoin wrong, but that's okay. The Kazakh government has already initiated the legislative process to formalize the initiative, and the Agency for Regulation and Development of the Financial Market will draft a specific law expected to be approved before the year 2026. According to previous reports, Kazakhstan's strategic reserve could also be funded through digital assets seized by authorities because governments always rely on theft. I'll say it again. Governments, not just ours, all governments rely upon theft. It's been that way since before Roman times, guys. Sad, but we just keep thinking that that's okay, and we keep defending these people, and yet they steal and they steal and they steal and they steal from this very citizens that put them into power in the first place. It is a sick relationship. We really got to get out of it, and I don't think Kazakhstan is taking the high road here. Let's just get out of that and into 8co. 8co stock jumps 3,000%. Why? Because they want a world coin treasury strategy, like a Bitmine investment. Oh, God. See, I'm bringing it to you so that you understand just how stupid the market still is, just how immature it is, just how juvenile it is, because people are still trying to get sick gains by investing money in tragedies like WorldCoin and Bitmine investments. This one is out of Decrypt from Jason Nelson. 8co Holdings Incorporated shares surged more than 3,000% on Monday after the obscure e-commerce firm announced plans to build a treasury around WorldCoin and secured a $20 million investment from the crypto miner Bitmine, pausing to say that Bitmine is Tom Lee's outfit, who's been making headlines by buying Ether and has the largest, quote, Ether treasury going on right now with Bitmine. That's why. It's a derivative. This is a derivative play. Buying stock in 8co Holdings is a derivative play because you'll get ancillary or tangential exposure to Bitmine, which means that you believe that Ether has a future. It doesn't. But anyway, the stock hewed to its Friday closing price of $1.43 in pre-market hours and closed at $45. It surged as high as $83. Remember, $1.43 stock price going to $83 and settling at $45. More than that, the 83 number is 5,000%. That's a 5,000% gain in a day on a stock nobody knows about. That's how bad this is. Quote, everything the foundation and tools for humanity have built has enabled us to be in this position, Dan Ives, managing director at Wedbush Securities, told Decrypt. Quote, we believe that World is significantly undervalued relative to the potential opportunity, end quote. 8co also raised $250 million in private placement to buy WorldCoin tokens. And if you did not know, if you did not know, WorldCoin is Sam Altman's project, and you have to have your iris and retina scanned in order to get a wallet filled with this BS WorldCoin token crap. Okay, this is Sam Altman, if you did not know. So anyway, we're calling it the first corporate treasury strategy built around the controversial digital identity project. 8co also plans to change its NASDAQ ticker from OCTO to ORBS on September the 11th. That's tomorrow, 2025. Orbs from Octo, because that's the ticker for 8co, to Orbs. Why Orbs? Because the device that scans your iris and your retina for digital identity is called the Orb. It's a silver globe, and you look into it, and it takes a snapshot of your iris and your retina. And that data is forever. You have completely doxed yourself. And any camera that ever sees that again, your iris or your retina, that can see it at a distance, and don't think that that won't happen if it's not already here, will know exactly who you are if they tapped into WorldCoin. Right? So you don't mess around with WorldCoin, people. WorldCoin rose 49% on Monday to $1.50, reaching a 7-month high according to CoinGecko. Bitmine, which recently boosted its Ethereum holdings to more than 2 million ETH, which is worth roughly $9 billion, described the 8Co deal as its first moonshot investment. Ives, who was also newly appointed chairman of 8Co, told Decrypt that the move aligns with the company's focus on digital identity, artificial intelligence, and WorldCoin's, quote, proof of personhood technology. Quote, I see WorldCoin as a tech infrastructure play, not a crypto investment. It's the intersection of artificial intelligence and crypto. I wouldn't be involved if this were just a token strategy. A key part of the AI revolution will be the authentication and trust layer, and that's what World provides, end quote. While the Treasury's focus is on WorldCoin, 8Co acknowledged that it may also hold cash and Ethereum as secondary reserve assets. Blah, blah, blah. At this point, I don't care. This is just dumb. It's proving now. Because here comes Tom Lee a couple of weeks ago, and it starts running his mouth about Ether and that Bitcoin was going to go away and that the only real treasury play was Ether. It's all marketing. Because they know they have enough rubes over on Twitter that believe what they say, that now we've got Ether back up against a multi-year low against Bitcoin, but not by much. It's actually still trending down over the last 5 years, even after this massive bump against Bitcoin. And I'm not talking about the price of Ether. You have to look at Ether against Bitcoin. How many Ether does it take to buy Bitcoin? That ratio, that's the important ratio. And if you look at that chart, you see a completely different picture than if you compare Ether against the United States dollar. It's completely different. It just goes down and down and down. And then it had a hell of a dip way, way, way down last year, and it just stayed there until Tom Lee got on CNBC and said, Ether's great. I'm buying a whole shit ton of it because I've got a lot of cash. And he basically faked the market out and made Ether look like it actually has value. It's just grift because now people are pumping his bags by buying Ether. And now we have this play, this 8Co, who's going to be the world's first WorldCoin treasury strategy. But I don't think that's what they're betting on. I think they're betting on this relationship with Tom Lee and Tom Lee's Ether treasury strategy, because Tom Lee is directly investing into this BS derivative project. Don't be fooled. Please, for the love of God, don't be fooled. These people are out for one thing and one thing only, to steal your money and have fun with your money, which means that you don't get to have fun with your money because you gave your money to somebody who bought Ether because they're trying to get other people to buy Ether to pump their bags. Don't let it be you. I'll see you on the other side. This has been Bitcoin and I'm your host, David Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day.